guys, welcome. Today we are going to talk about polycystic kidney disease and other inherited disorder. This lecture is taken from Harrison 20th edition. So let's start. First of all, what is ADPKD and what is ARPKD? So ADPKD literally means autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease and AR is autosomal recessive. What is the difference between autosomal dominant and recessive? The dominant form of PKD is most common, life-threatening monogenic disease. Whether autosomal recessive form of PKD is rarer but affects only the pediatric population. So if a pediatric patient comes to you with the polycystic disease, so you can think of autosomal recessive form of PKD. So what is autosomal dominant polycystic kidney disease? Formation of the epithelial lined cyst in the kidney appears in the 5% of the tubules and high growth. Actually, there are three hits in the ADPKD. We will talk about that later in the lecture. So there loss of normal surrounding tissue because of the cyst growth. It affects the normal surrounding tissue and loss of renal function. What are the cellular defects found in the polycystic kidney disease? Take note of increased cell proliferation but decreased cell differentiation and increased fluid secretion and abnormal cellular matrix. This is caused by mutation in PKD1 and PKD2 gene. Codes for polycystin 1 and polycystin 2 respectively. Polycystin 1 and polycystin 2. Polycystin 1 is large 11 transmembrane protein and is function as the G protein coupled receptor. Take note of important question where PC2 polycystin 2 is a calcium permeable 6 transmembrane protein gene. Alright, so this is calcium permeable gene and it belongs to the transient receptor of the potential cation channel family. Alright, PC1 and PC2 are widely expressed in almost all tissue and organ. Very important question, all tissue and organs can express PC1 and PC2. They are primarily found in the cilium and cell to cell junction. Alright, PC1 and PC2 bind to each other via a C-terminal tails to form a receptor channel complex. Alright, and they serve as a mechanosensor of chemical sensing for the regulate calcium and G protein signaling. Alright, so etiology says as a hypothesis is that loss of ciliary function of PC1 and PC2 leads to aberrant calcium signaling. Alright, that lead to increase of adenylate cyclase activity and decrease of phosphodiesterase activity that lead to increased cellular AMP that eventually lead to increased protein kinase A activity that helps in cyst growth. This protein kinase A helps in cyst growth by promoting proliferation and fluid secretion of the cyst lining cells through the chloride and aquaporin channel. Take note of chloride and aquaporin channel in the ADPKD kidneys. The first degree gene was localized as the 16th chromosome and the second is localized as the 4th chromosome. Mutations are responsible for 85% and 50% of ADPKD respectively for PKD1 and PKD2. The concept says here, I was talking about the three hits. So the first hit is because of the gene mutation. Alright, in ADPKD patient every cell carries the germline mutation of allele either PKD1 or PKD2. The second hit goes because of the clonal growth, alright, of the allele of ADPKD1 or PKD2 gene, and this will start the onset of cyst but it will be very slow and there will be no symptoms. But a third hit such as additional genetic or epigenetic event leads to activation of the growth suppressor gene and inactivation of the growth suppressor gene and activation of the growth promoting gene. Take note, inactivation and activation, and that leads to rapid cyst formation that eventually leads to symptoms. Alright, what are the clinical manifestation the patient will come to you with? The first one is the progressive bilateral formation of the renal cyst, and kidney will increase in size fourfold and 20 times in the weight. Very important questions for the exam. Flank or back pain is frequent symptom in 60%. Gross hematuria can happen because of the cyst rupture. Infection is the second most common cause of the death. Kidney stone also occur in the patient with ADPKD. Very important in only 20% patient, but it's very common in ADPKD. Infected cyst and allele often presented acute pyelonephritis, and this is because of the gram negative bacteria. Distal acidification affects abnormal ammonium transport. Low urine pH and hypocitrullinuria may be important to the pathogenesis of renal cyst in the ADPKD. Renal cell carcinoma is a rare complication. Right? Carcinoma is very rare complication. Take note. CT scan and magnetic resonance are often useful in the distinguishing malignancy from a complex cyst. So we will do CT scan and MRI. Hypertension is very common because of the renal involvement, and it is due to increased activation of the renin-angiotensin and aldosterone system. Okay, RAS system, increased sympathetic nerve activity, and impaired endothelial cellular function dependent on the genes. So what are the risk factors for ADPKD? Early diagnosis of ADPKD is the risk factor. Hypertension, gross hematuria, multiple pregnancy, very important, and large kidney size is a risk factor. Most common extrarenal complication is liver cyst derived from the biliary epithelia, because I already told you PKD1 and PKD2 gene are present in all organs and tissues. So polycystic liver disease associated with ADPKD is different from autosomal dominant polycystic liver disease, which is caused by mutation in the at least two distinct genes PRKCSH and SEC63 and does not process to renal failure. So renal cyst can lead to liver cyst, but liver cyst cannot lead to renal cyst. Alright. Massive polycystic liver disease occurs almost exclusively in the women. Liver disease only happen in the women with ADPKD, particularly those with multiple pregnancy. Intracranial aneurysm occurs 4 to 5 times more frequently in ADPKD. Alright. 20 to 50% patient may experience wanding headache proceeding to index episode of subarachnoid hemorrhage due to ruptured ICA. Mitral valve prolapse, 30% patient. Tricuspid valve prolapse is less common. So how will you make the diagnosis? Made from a positive family history with CT and MRI. Autosomal dominant inherited multiple kidney cyst bilaterally. Ultrasonography is also useful. The presence of at least two renal cysts unilaterally or bilateral is sufficient for diagnosis among at-risk subject women 15 to 29 years. So very important for 15 to 29-year-old, at least two renal cysts is diagnostic. The presence of at least two renal cysts in each kidney and at least 4 cysts in each kidney for 30 to 59-year-old or more than 60 years. Alright. Treatment, ADPKD, no specific treatment. The decline in renal function has been approved by US FDA. Blood pressure control target is 140/90. We will not go below 140/90. Maintaining a target systolic blood pressure to 110 in patient with moderate or advanced disease may increase the risk of renal disease progression by reducing renal blood flow. Very important. Other than that, we can give trimethoprim sulfametazole, quinols, chloramphenicol for infections, treatment of stone, painkiller, hydration, occasionally surgical decompression of the cyst. Alright. So very long polycystic kidney and recurrent renal cyst infection may require pre-transplant nephrectomy or bilateral nephrectomy to accommodate the allograft and reduce the pain. Very important. Take note the name of the surgery. This is often asked in the exam. Sirolimus and everolimus. They are mTOR pathway inhibitor, also used in the polycystic kidney disease. So ectosomal recessive type of polycystic kidney disease, mutation in the single gene only, PKHD1, responsible for all clinical presentation, localized on the chromosome number 6, encodes for fibrocystin or polydactyl. FPC is localized on the primary cilia of the epithelial cell of cortical and medullary collecting ducts and cholangiocytes of the bile duct, similar to polycystin and other ciliopathic proteins. What are the clinical features for that? Generally diagnosed in utero or with the neonatal period, characterized by the generally enlarged endogenic kidneys, reduced fetal urine production, oligohydramnios, and pulmonary hypoplasia. Alright, in the 30% die shortly after birth, very important, of respiratory insufficiency. 60% mortality in the first month of the life. So this is present in the pediatric population. The hallmark of ARPKD liver disease are bilateral dysgenesis due to primary ductal plate malformation, which is associated with fibrosis, namely congenital hepatic fibrosis, very important, and namely and dilation of intrahepatic bile duct, Caroli disease lead to portal hypertension. Some patient with ADPKD at 1 year age with nephromegaly exhibit slowly declining renal function over 20 years with only minimal enlarged kidney at ESRD. This is because of the fibrosis rather than cyst formation. Diagnosis we can do by USG, CT and MRI. Large echogenic kidneys we will see in ultrasound with poor corticomedullary differentiation. Diagnosis can be made in utero after 24 weeks of gestation. Very important, 24 weeks of gestation. After 24 weeks we can make the diagnosis. Necrosis not common, fibrosis more common. Alright, so ARPKD, fibrosis, ADPKD cyst. The absence of renal cyst in either parents, particularly if they age more than 40 years of age on USG, helps distinguish ADPKD with ARPKD. Treatment, no specific treatment is available. We can give neonatal care, BP control, hepatic fibrosis, we can do liver transplant, and for Caroli disease, we can do porto systemic stenting. Alright, so this is all about ADPKD and ARPKD. Now we will talk about tuberous sclerosis. Sclerosis, it happens 1 in 5,000 births. It's a rare autosomal dominant syndrome caused by mutation in TSC1 or TSC2 gene, codes for hamartine and tuberin respectively. Number 1, kidney cysts are frequent feature. Renal cell carcinoma happen there and renal angiomyolipomas are present. So very important. Just remember 3 things: kidney cyst, renal cell carcinoma and renal angiomyolipomas. In tuberous sclerosis is a syndrome of multiple organs, benign growth in nervous system, eye, heart, lung, liver and the skin. The concept is TSC2 gene is adjacent to PKD1 in human genome. That's why production of cyst. Alright. The most common finding in TS is the presence of angiomyolipomas. I already talked about that. This is because of this is multiple and bilateral. If more than 4 cm, surgical removal is recommended. Very important. If it is more than 4 cm. Alright. TSC1 and TSC2 gene products tuberin and hamartine interact physically. This protein complex is localized at the base of the cilia and inhibit intracellular signaling mediated by mTOR, abnormal growth in the number of tissue. Alright. Now, von Hippel-Lindau disease. This is an autosomal dominant condition caused by mutation in the VHL tumor suppressor gene. VHL is localized at the primary cilia and is necessary for the formation of the primary cilia. So kidney manifestation include multiple bilateral kidney cyst and renal cell carcinomas. Very important. Multiple bilateral kidney cyst and renal cell carcinoma, but no angiomyolipomas. And non-renal manifestations are pheochromocytoma, cerebellar hemangioblastoma and renal hemangioma. So you can differentiate von Hippel-Lindau disease with the tuberous sclerosis. Alright, differential diagnosis of ADPKD and annual screening is recommended with imaging with CT or MRI. For autosomal dominant interstitial kidney disease, medullary cystic kidney disease, this is an autosomal dominant disorder. The number 1 type is ADTKD, ADIKD, medullary cystic disease 1. So mutation in the mucin1 gene, MUC1. This is large neoprotein fragment, toxic effect on the kidney tubules. Clinically, slowly progressive CKD in the adulthood. Only minimal amount of increased urine protein and occasional renal cyst seen on the ultrasound examination. For the IUMOD type, this is because of the mutation in UMOD gene that codes for protein uromodulin, also known as TAM-Horsfall protein. Very important. Take note of TAM-Horsfall protein that found in the centrosomes, mitotic spindle and the primary cilia. And clinically, cysts are not common. Family history of late onset kidney disease, benign urine sediments, absence of significant proteinuria and hyperuricemia is present in the patient clinically. Alright, so that's all about the ADPKD and other disorder from the Harrison. Thank you.